Bill O'Reilly here, Friday, February 25th, 2022. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update. Here's what's happening this week in America. Of course, the big story worldwide is Putin's invasion of Ukraine, which is having unintended consequences across the board. And we will get into that in the second segment of the update today. We will get into the micro of this invasion and how it is playing out. Other news. The National Guard deploys to protect the Capitol. Sarah Palin wants a new trial against the New York Times. Politics having an adverse effect on physical health. And U.S. citizens are addicted to their telephones. We all knew that. The Department of Defense sending 700 members of the National Guard to protect Washington, D.C. during President Biden's State of the Union. The troops will create 25 checkpoints to stop Freedom truckers from blocking commerce in D.C. The FBI believes up to 10,000 protesters could descend on Washington before the State of the Union speech on March 1st. Sarah Palin seeking another trial against the New York Times, which clearly defamed Miss Palin. Whether she gets it or not, I have no idea. A new study from the University of Nebraska shows a link between a person's political activity and physical health. 4 in 10 American adults cite politics as a major source of stress in their daily lives. A quarter say 24-hour news coverage causes headaches. Well, that's true. And 5% say they get suicidal thoughts after watching TV news. Well, they must be looking at... No, I'm not going to say it. But you know what I'm thinking. A survey published by one poll says 6 in 10 Americans cannot go a full day without their smartphones. 1 in 5 suffer panic from a low battery. Those stats are even worse for young people. The poll says Americans would rather lose their car keys, credit cards, even wedding rings, than lose their electronic devices. On average, the typical person checks his or her phone 29 times a day. In a moment, Update listeners have lots of questions about Putin, Biden, and Ukraine. Right back with it. As you know, inflation is almost out of control thanks to the policies of this administration. Retirement accounts are especially vulnerable right now. Because when inflation goes up, your dollar savings go down. So how do you protect your hard-earned wealth? Please call the people I trust at American Hartford Gold. They will show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts against inflation by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver, and they make it easy. They are the highest rated firm in the country with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. All it takes is a quick call, and they will deliver physical gold and silver right to your door or put inside your IRA or 401k. Plus, tell them O'Reilly sent you, and they'll give you up to $1,500 of free silver on your first order. So please don't wait. 877-444-GOLD Gold. Or text GOLD to 65532. Again, 877-444-GOLD or text GOLD to 65532. Time now for the O'Reilly Update message of the day. Listeners sound off. We do this each Friday. You can reach me, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, name and town if you wish to opine. We'll go to Ronnie in Durham, North Carolina. O'Reilly, being a simple man like you, I don't understand your comment on energy independence. Okay, so Putin believes that he can run roughshod over Europe because he's selling oil to the Europeans. We in the United States have enough oil to ship to Europe so they can boycott Putin. But Biden will not harvest the fossil fuels because of climate change. That has to change. Forrest in Minneapolis. Is the situation really 100% Putin's fault? Don't get me wrong, he's a bad guy, but doesn't some responsibility fall on Biden and his weakness for not being able to contain Putin? All right, you can make that theoretical argument, but it diverts away from the villainy of Vladimir Putin. He is killing innocent people for no reason. So rather than undermine Biden, who has to lead the economic sanctions against Putin, remember, Biden is the president, okay? He's got to rally all the nations in the world against Putin. So undermining him at this point does not seem to be a smart strategy to me, although I will cede he is a very weak president. Ron in Illinois, Lombard, Illinois. Bill, can you shed some light on why Putin wants to invade Ukraine? Because he wants to put back the old Soviet Union and become a world power again. All right, Russia is a weak economy. It doesn't have much influence. China and the USA are the two world powers. Putin wants to reinstitute Russian power by conquering other countries. It's insane. Vicky, Ponte Vedra, Florida. Will Ukraine bomb Russia back? They are not capable of that. What the Ukrainians will do is fight on the ground to some extent, but then when Russia solidifies its power within Ukraine, as it will, I think there will be a guerrilla war, like what the Afghans did to the Soviet Union when the Soviets invaded that country. You'll remember that. The Soviets ultimately had to pull out. So I foresee a guerrilla war in Ukraine. Ashley, Murrells Inlet, South Carolina. Why isn't Ukraine a part of NATO? Because the current government in Kyiv doesn't want to be. So it wanted to remain, quote, non-aligned, unquote. That is the Ukrainian government position. It didn't apply to NATO. And now we are seeing what that has wrought, because if Ukraine was a member of NATO, then it'd be a shooting war, unfortunately. I'm Bill O'Reilly. I approve the message by putting it together. If you'd like more honest news analysis, please visit BillO'Reilly.com. In a moment, something you might not know. Hey, investors, listen up. Inflation and rate increases are forecasted, which will potentially stall stock market gains. But the experts say apartment building values and rent increases are up. Almost 6.8 million homes are needed in this country right now. You have heard me tell you about NRIA. They are building rental and condominium properties in high-demand, low-supply markets right now. I personally visited one myself in Florida. Their 15-year track record has been delivering competitive returns for investors. So, you might consider investing in a solid foundation and give them a call. 800-800-1414. That's easy. 800-800-1414, or check them out at nria.net.
An offer of securities is only made by the NRIA Private Placement Memorandum. Read it first. Past performance does not guarantee future results. NRIA is a real estate development firm. Learn more at nria.net.
Now, the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know. The USA routinely ranks as the most generous country on earth. Before the pandemic, Americans donated more than $420 billion every year to charity. And that figure is growing in the USA. We are amazingly generous here. Now, according to the U.S. Labor Bureau, there are roughly 1.5 million nonprofit organizations based in America. While the majority operate on an annual budget around $1 million, the biggest charities take in billions. Here is a look at the USA's top charities ranked by Charity Navigator, the largest nonprofit evaluator in the USA. First up, United Way Worldwide. This group takes in about $4 billion in donations each year. They spend the money on dozens of causes, including new schools in the Middle East, job training in Ohio, delivering mosquito nets to South Africa, on and on. Charity Navigator gives United Way a near-perfect rating, 96%. Even wealthy nations like the USA struggle with hunger. 15% of Americans have a hard time securing food, studies show. The charity Feeding America spends $3 billion a year to support 200 food banks in all 50 states. Next, St. Jude Children's Hospital. You've seen the commercials. They're all over cable. $3 billion in donations each year. The hospital works round the clock every day to cure childhood cancer. They help 15,000 patients annually. The families pay nothing for the life-saving treatments. Finally, the Salvation Army spends $5 billion in 130 countries every year. The Salvation Army is actually a Protestant church with more than 2 million members. They've been ringing those Christmas bells since 1881. It is the longest charity campaign in history. And here's something else you might not know. During the pandemic, fewer Americans gave to charity than at any time in the past 40 years. Biggest factors for the decrease: sketchy employment, rising inflation, and the decline of organized religion. Back after this. The COVID pandemic has shined a light on the biotech industry and how it can benefit our health. My go-to tech expert, Jeff Brown, angel investor and editor of Brownstone Research, tells me the biotech sector is seeing accelerated growth in therapeutic and tech development, yet the sector is undervalued. So even with the volatility in the economy, Jeff is bullish about biotech in 2022. His newsletters at Brownstone Research will educate you on how the latest technology affects our lives and how to profit from it. It is important to have an independent expert who is accountable only to you, helping to grow your 401k and retirement savings. Get help preserving your wealth. Sign up for Jeff's newsletter today. Please go to jeffbrowntech.com. 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 Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.